All right, welcome everyone to the Creative Writing, Editing, and Publishing Information session. My name is Eleanor Sweetapple. I'm a lecturer here in the School of Communication. I teach in creative writing, and I'm also the advisor for the postgraduate program in creative writing. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I'm on Bidjigal land in Maroubra. This is where our ancestral campus is and where I am at the moment. And we'd also like to pay respects to the elders, past and present, acknowledging them as traditional custodians of knowledge for these lands. Sovereignty has never been ceded, and these always were and always will be Aboriginal lands. So welcome tonight. If you have a question, please put it in the Q&A at any point, and we'll make sure and get to all the questions, hopefully. Let's see. The session is going to be recorded. We're going to record audio, screen share, and our presenters, but we're not going to be recording any video input or audio from you. Any information you provide is optional and is going to be captured for teaching and learning purposes for staff involved to share questions and responses for the broader community. So taking part in this session, you understand and acknowledge your information will be used for those purposes. This recording may be published online in addition to an online text catalog of questions and answers. So by being involved, you're consenting to the recording being publicly available. All right, let's go to the next slide. So why study creative writing at UTS? Basically, you can learn from award-winning writers and academics. We have wonderful staff here at UTS. We have Dr. Andrew Pippos, who's the Miles Franklin shortlisted author of Luckies. We have Dr. Delia Faulkner, whose most recent book, Signs and Wonders, is an extraordinary book of essays, but also who wrote a book about Sydney and various fiction as well. We have Dr. Penny Rustin, who's a young adult novelist, and we have Dr. Claire Corbett, who writes novels and is the fiction editor at Overland. I am a historical fiction novelist and essayist as well. So we're shaping Australia's writing scene, including fiction, creative nonfiction, and life writing. There are real career opportunities. Learning in a program that's well connected to industry offers a contemporary approach and lets you really genuinely develop your career and writing skills. There are a lot of opportunities to be connected to the industry in this program, and we do teach ways of, for instance, pitching your book, writing, writing different types of fiction and nonfiction, but also how to get published as well. Careers can include editor, publisher, scriptwriter, literary agent, feature writer, script editor, freelance writer, and novelist. And there are also wonderful opportunities to become a published author before graduation, with the opportunity to showcase work in the UTS Writers Anthology. We also have a monthly writers salon where you can read from your work, and where we have published authors who've published books out of the master's program at UTS or the grad dip program, reading from their published books as well. We're just going to go into the course structure of the different programs now. So the Masters of Creative Writing has a course structure where there are 5 core subjects and 3 electives. The core subjects include a final major writing project. They also include narrative writing, theory in creative writing, creative nonfiction, and then you get to choose from electives such as screenwriting, short fiction, novel writing, memoir, and life writing. Full-time students complete the course in 1.5 years with 3 subjects per semester. And part-time students undertake 1 or 2 subjects a semester. So depending on the number of subjects you take, the course could take between 2 and 5 years. With the graduate diploma in creative writing, the course structure has those same 3 core subjects, but you only take 3 electives. So not all the same, because you also don't have the major writing project, but you have narrative writing, theory and creative writing, and creative nonfiction. And then you have 3 electives within this course. You can articulate into the master's program from the graduate diploma in creative writing if you wish to do so. Full-time students can complete this course in a year with 3 subjects a semester. Part-time students take 1 to 2 subjects per semester. And depending on the number of subjects taken, this course takes between 2 and 3 years. The graduate certificate in editing and publishing is another course that we offer. This has 2 core subjects and 1 elective, and it is suitable for those who are intending to pursue a career in publishing or editing of all types. This course is only available part-time and can be completed within a year. In this class, in this course, you have to take professional editing and book marketing and publishing, and then you get to choose 1 elective from the other electives. I have to say as well that my editor at Allen & Unwin did this course, this graduate certificate in editing and publishing, and now he's a senior editor at Allen & Unwin. So it's a well-respected course in the industry. Now we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to hear from Erin Vincent, who's a master's student here at UTS, who is, an extraordinary student, but also is on the anthology, has worked as an editor on the anthology this year. So she can talk a little bit about her experience here at UTS. So Erin, can you tell us a little bit about what your experience of the master's has been?
Yes, I did my master's part-time, and I'm just about to finish, so it took me 3 years. I didn't know what to expect going in, but I was attracted to the master's at UTS because it seemed very hands-on, where I would just be, not loaded down with too much theory, but a lot of practical writing experience. So, and that's exactly what it turned out to be. There's a great course, a core subject, theory and creative writing, which I was nervous about, but loved, one of my favorite subjects. And then after that, doing the core subjects, I did short fiction, novel writing and memoir. And I don't know how to sum it up, really. I've had a fantastic experience. I sound like I'm like a publicist for UTS, but I really did have a great experience. I came in not feeling great about where my writing was at. I'd already had a book published, but I don't know, I'd sort of lost my way as a writer. And doing the master's, I just found myself again. I found that all of the subjects, there's such varied readings that you get to do. And a lot of the subjects have weekly exercises, which are really stimulating. And then the assignments and the deadlines, I just found that the varied subjects and the varied readings really helped me sort of hone in on the kind of writer I am. And I found that my lecturers were very open to me experimenting and trying different things. And I don't know, Eleanor, what else can I say about it?
No, that's all great. I think that's all really, really helpful. So that experimentation allowed you to sort of figure out your voice again and feel confident in who you are as a writer too.
Yes, and I'd sort of, because I'd lost my way, I've regained my confidence. I feel really sure of the kind of writer I am, the kind of writer I want to be doing, the kind of writing I want to be doing. So it just really helped me work out who I am and what I want to be doing. And I noticed with other students, my fellow students, I could see they had similar experiences. One fellow student really loved editing, and she was on the student anthology 2 years in a row and excelled at editing. And now she's, just got a job as an editor. So it's just, yeah, and other student writers I've seen have just sort of found their way, I think.
Yeah. Any favorite subjects that really helped you kind of hone that, or just that you enjoyed particularly?
For me, creative nonfiction. I mostly write memoir. So creative nonfiction, the varied readings that we did in that subject, there was writing that was quite experimental, writing that was more traditional, really opened my eyes to the possibilities of writing essays and creative nonfiction. And so that's when I started really experimenting with my own work. So definitely creative nonfiction. I also did memoir, which I just loved, of course, because that's my sort of thing. But I would say all of my subjects, so I got so much out of them. Like short story writing, I'm not really a short story writer. It's not really my thing. But I got so much out of the class anyway for my other writing. So
yeah. And tell us a little bit about what it's like to be on the anthology editing committee.
I was really nervous about that. I thought it was going to be just so much work and I'd be bogged down trying to do my assignments as well, but it wasn't. There's a lot of reading initially. You read, I think, 150 stories, poems, essays, and then have to work with, I think there were 6 people on the committee this year, deciding which stories, essays, and poems should be in the anthology. And I think you learn a lot from doing that as well, just reading vastly different works, deciding what works, recognizing what works, what doesn't, working with other students and just realizing that a lot of the time it's personal opinion and you have to try and step away from that and look more at craft and storytelling and sort of judge things quite differently. So was a really interesting experience and just a very enriching experience.
Yes. So for those who might not know the anthology at UTS, you can apply. Any student in the creative writing or in the writing program can apply to be on the anthology editing committee. It is a competitive. They do choose a select pool of people on the committee, but it's an amazing experience for those students to. It's a printed book that's printed through a commercial publisher, and so it is really like you choose a cover, you go through that whole experience. Mine is actually at UTS in the office there right now, so I can't show it to you, but it's a great looking book as well.
And also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And also, I think the experience of being on the anthology committee, if you're interested in, of course, if you're doing the masters, you'd like to be published, so it gives you an experience of maybe being published. But on the other side, it gives you an experience if you're interested in being an editor. Like when you're on the committee, I worked with 5 different authors on their work as their editor, which was a really interesting experience. So you get to do a whole, and then if you've never been involved with book publishing, you do get to see it from start to finish. So it's quite an invaluable experience.
Yeah, amazing. And I did it actually. One of the things I haven't said is that I actually did a master's here at UTS and graduated myself in 2007, which is a long time ago, but I was on the anthology committee. And one of the things I learned then was that even if you're rejected, it's because a lot of editors have different tastes, and it's not just about your work, it's about the taste of the people on those committees too. And so it makes take things less personally as well.
It does actually.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing that. Erin, anything else that you want to share as well?
Not really. I think I would say if people are nervous about doing the masters, or just think, oh, I don't think I can do it. I mean, don't think I can do it. Don't think I'm good enough. You know, a lot of writers have that. I would just say dive in. I felt all of those things, and it's been an incredible experience and challenging. And because of that, I have come away with more confidence, because I, you know, faced certain assignments and classes with trepidation and came away thinking, oh, I could do that. Oh, you know, so I would say if you're nervous, dive in, give it a shot. You know.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. And if you have particular questions for Erin, you can pop them in the Q&A as well, and we'll get to those too. So thanks, Erin.
Sure.
Let me just go over to our next slide. So the admissions requirements, you might have questions about these. So applicants must have completed, this is for the Master of Arts in Creative Writing. We'll get to the other 2 degrees in a moment, but you have to have done a UTS recognized bachelor's or an equivalent or higher qualification, or submitted other evidence of general and professional qualifications that demonstrates potential to pursue graduate studies. So the bachelor's has to be, if you have a bachelor's, it has to be in education, management and commerce, society and culture, or creative arts. If it's in another field, you have to have 2 years of related professional work. If you have a master's, a grad dip, or a graduate certificate qualification, it can be in any field of study. So all applicants, except for if you've already done the UTS graduate diploma in creative writing, must submit 1 example of their creative writing and a personal statement of no more than 300 words. An example of a piece of creative writing could be a chapter from a novel in progress. It could be a short story or a literary essay, 2,000 words minimum. It could be 10 pages of a screenplay or a suite of 6 poems. So that's for the master's. To apply for that, you need to have an example of your creative writing and a personal statement. That is unless, as I mentioned, you've done the graduate diploma in creative writing at UTS and you're applying to go up to the master's from that. So let's look at the admission requirements for the graduate diploma and the graduate certificate in editing and publishing. You have to have completed a UTS recognized bachelor's degree or an equivalent or higher qualification, or submitted other evidence of general and professional qualifications that demonstrate potential to pursue grad studies. You can have an academic qualification in any field of study, so it does not have to specifically be as the master's degree applicants had to be. And if you haven't completed a bachelor's, master's, grad dip, or grad cert qualification in any field of study or overseas equivalent, you have to give us a personal statement explaining why you wish to study the course, and a CV, which should include details of your paid and voluntary work and other experiences that could be relevant to the course. English language requirements. There is an English proficiency requirement for international students or local applicants with international qualifications. Those are shown here, and I'm not going to read them to you. I'll leave them to you guys to read. And if you have any further questions about that, it's great to ask admissions specifically. And then the application deadlines. For the autumn semester, the domestic student application deadline is late January 2023, and you should be applying through the UTS online application system. For international students, that's early January 2023, and you can find out more through the International Office webpage. 2023 fees, you can calculate those through that handy link to the UTS online fee calculator. But here they are for domestic students and international students. And that shows full-time per session. So that's showing taking three classes per session. UTS alumni save 10%, and there's fee help available. And do remember these are for 2023. Also, recognition of prior learning is evaluated on a case-by-case basis. So now we've come to the Q&A. I hope I didn't rush through the slides too quickly, but I did want to make sure that we have plenty of time if you have any questions specifically for me or for Aaron. And so, yes, now's the time for any questions you might have about the degree. And then while I'm waiting, if you have any, you can pop them into the chat there. But while I'm waiting, I might ask Aaron a few more questions.
Yep, sure.
And we're lucky that my dog hasn't actually barked during this session. I've been waiting for it trepidatiously, but he's been good.
Been wandering in the background.
I know, he has. And so you're graduating this year. Did you, because you did your writing project last semester, didn't you? So what class did you take? What course did you take this semester?
This semester, novel writing.
Novel writing, excellent. And how many words is the final assessment in that one? So how many words are you submitting?
It's a minimum of 5,000, but you can submit between 5 and 10,000. Okay, yes. So sometimes we get the question, will you edit my novel for me? And that's not really what the lectures in this course do necessarily. But we certainly do a lot of workshopping, and we do give a lot of feedback on the assignments as well. Yeah, that's true. You do. Yeah. And feedback when you get the assignment back. There's, usually quite a good amount of written feedback, which is helpful. Yes, we give lots of written feedback too. Okay, so we have a question. Is it possible to apply for both the graduate diploma and the master's? Serena, do you have the answer for this one? I don't know if you can apply for both.
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely can. What we would recommend that you do, however, though, is apply for the master's. And if it's decided that you are maybe not ready to do the full course, because all of our courses are an articulation of each other, you can start with the grad dip and then at the end of your first 12 months, then apply for the master's. And then you can make a decision from there if you'd like to continue with the full master's as opposed to the smaller grad dip.
Great, thank you, Serena. Yes, so, and I've got lots of students who do articulate from the graduate diploma to the master's, and often they've done the grad dip because they're not certain as well, like whether this is something they want to do, and then they do articulate to the master's when they realize they're enjoying it or that they're getting a lot out of it. Yeah, so how many hours a week? Holly's got a question. Would she be doing classes? It depends on whether you're full-time or part-time. So full-time, you would have 3 classes a semester. That would be, they're 12-week semesters, and those are approximately 2-hour classes. So that would be about 6 hours in class, but then there's all of the reading and the writing and the work outside of class as well. People do they actually do this full-time and work as well, but it's a full schedule. I would say it's a pretty busy time. How many hours a week are you're in classes right now, Erin?
This semester, I'm only doing 1 class.
Yeah.
So and the classes were running, this one was running about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So some classes are around 2 to 2.5 hours. So yeah, and then you have the reading on top of that, and the writing and the feedback as well.
Yeah.
Let's see, the anthology work. How does the anthology work? Is it fully run by students? So Aaron, you would be great to talk to this one because you have the experience of it this year.
Okay, so there's 6 students on the committee, and there's one lecturer, Claire Corbett, and she kind of oversees everything, but she does leave us to it. We decide which stories are chosen, we edit them all. Claire did give us a workshop, an editing workshop that would help us with the editing. So the lecturer is there to advise us and to help us, but we are basically putting it together.
Yeah. So you have a lecturer who's there if you need assistance with it and who gives you some guidance, but the decisions are made by the editing team, aren't they?
Yeah, and we also decide on the title of the anthology, the cover, all of that stuff. So
yeah, excellent. Thanks. So we have a question from Matt. The graduate certificate timetable looks like night classes. Does that flip each semester? We do teach in the it's almost all night. It is all night classes in the master's and the grad certificate and the graduate diploma program, mostly starting at 6 p.m. because a lot of people work and work as well as take these classes. So there are not daytime classes that we offer, except sometimes there are Saturday classes, particularly in the writing industry and practice. There were some Saturday sessions with that. But otherwise, these are offered in the evenings. Another question, I want to write, but I'm not sure about what yet. I have a lot of ideas. Will this course help me find my voice and encourage me to try writing different genres? I think definitely is the answer to that. I mean, I often encourage people to begin with narrative writing. That is meant to be the first course, particularly if you're doing the graduate diploma or the master's in creative writing, to begin with narrative writing, because we look at so many varieties of writing, and there are so many writing exercises that will help you try writing different genres, help you find your voice. And we even talk about what voice is in creative writing, and where stories, what narrative is and where stories come from. So I think absolutely this helps people find those kinds of ideas as well. Do you have an answer to that as well, Erin? What would you say?
Yeah, a couple of things, like my own experience and experience of other students. For my own experience, I would definitely say that is one of the main things I've gotten out of doing the masters is, as I said, I did feel lost as a writer, and it was all of the different readings and all of the different writing exercises that really helped me recognize once and for all the kind of writer I am. And now I'm just running with it, and it's great. But it was definitely a lot of the different readings and exercises that helped me with that. And I saw it in my fellow students. Like one of my fellow students, we started at the same time. He came into the masters writing a sci-fi novel, and he was like, I think I'm going to be a sci-fi writer, absolutely. And then he found in the degree, he kept writing all of these personal, realistic short stories, and discovered that, oh, actually, no, I'm not a sci-fi writer. I haven't felt compelled to write that at all. And he sort of changed his way and found his way. And I've saw that with a couple of other students, sort of came in with a certain idea of the kind of writing they would do, and it changed.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? That's fantastic. Thanks, Erin. The next question is, does UTS have any industry connections? The answer to that is that our industry connections are through our lecturers. So we do all have a lot of industry connections, but we bring them into, so we bring them often to classes. We bring a lot of guest lecturers, we bring publishers and literary agents, and, you know, different editors working in the industry. And then when we have people that we know who are looking, for instance, we had a recent graduate, or she's actually not quite graduated from her master's yet, but she did the undergrad in creative writing, excuse me, at UTS as well. And she got a job as a marketing and publicity at Simon & Schuster because of the connections through the lectures here. Someone was asked to recommend a student, and we recommended her because she had a lot of strengths in that field. So our industry connections are through our lectures. We're all working authors and writers, and working in on literary journals as well, in places like that. And the next question, I've seen the Writers Salon. Can students attend these events? Absolutely, students are really more encouraged and more than welcome to attend these events. We have a sort of place online, a Canvas, basically like a page where we put on lots of events and opportunities, and there are links to all of the events that we run through the writing program, events outside of the writing program that students might be interested in, and writing opportunities. But the salon is run during semester. It's one Friday a month, normally the first Friday of the month, and students are encouraged to come and read their work. So it's a great opportunity to practice reading in front of an audience and to try out your work too, which is great. And also you're welcome to come and attend the salons if you're not a student yet. It can be a great way to see some of the work coming out of UTS too. And there's one on this Friday night. So if you just search UTS Writers Salon, you can find this, or we might be able to put the link in somewhere, but it's with the graduate Hannah Bent, and it's actually online. So that kind of does segue into the answer to this next question. Are the courses all run on campus, or is there any online? We all know that COVID's not over yet. There are some courses which are offered online, and there are some which are offered face-to-face. So we have a mix of the two. And we find that for the face-to-face courses, the ones that are really workshop heavy are the ones that we prefer to run face-to-face, because in creative writing workshopping, it is much easier when people are in a room. People are welcome to wear masks as well. But the ones like, for instance, professional editing, those ones are offered online, because that course is generally something that can be done online. I know this semester that creative nonfiction was offered online, and book marketing and publishing is offered online. So there are always some courses during the semester that are offered online, and some that are face-to-face. Let's see. Any more questions? Such great questions. I'm just thinking if there's anything I've forgotten. I'll talk, actually, I would like to mention a little bit, because I haven't talked about it very much, but that the workshopping process is really important in our degree too. And I think that the students get a lot out of workshopping, which is sharing your work with other students and giving one another feedback on writing. And it's great, not just because you get feedback on your writing from a bigger variety of people, but that you develop your critical voice as well. And I think that's a really important thing. You can then actually learn how to say what the strengths are of a creative piece, and you can learn to talk about creative work. Erin, did you have anything to add about your workshopping experience?
Pretty much what you're saying, and it's interesting in two ways, the workshopping. It's great to get a lot of different people's opinion on your work, but it's also helped you recognize to what you're, how do I describe it? What you're protective of with your work, certain things that you, like you'll dig your heels in sometimes, and that helps you recognize, oh, this really matters to me, or this way of writing this thing matters to me. But also the hearing other ideas about your work helps you recognize when you dig your heels in and it's a stylistic creative choice, or when it's maybe not the brightest idea, or they're pointing out bad habits you have in your writing, or I don't know if I'm making sense. It's
yeah, absolutely. I think you are. I think that's
okay.
and sometimes, you know, if everyone in your group is pointing out the same thing, you realize, okay, that might be a problem. But if just one person is pointing it out, I think that you can make that decision about whether you want to change it or not yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I just recently in the thing I'm doing for novel writing, everyone pointed out something. And I think, okay, if a group of, I think it was 15 students all said the same thing, I have to really think about that, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, but if there's just one person, then you can choose, I think, whether or not you're going to dismiss that, or whether to take it on board. So
yeah, and I think you learn from that choice too. You learn something, you know, by going through the process of making that choice.
Yeah. Thanks, Erin. And the other thing I think that's really important is that idea that even if you're not going to be, I think the editing courses we teach are incredibly excellent at this in this program. And even if you're not going to, even if you don't think you want to go into editing, if you want to be a writer, taking editing courses are excellent as well. I know that as a published writer now, working with editors, knowing what they do as a job makes a huge difference in what I understand and what I know about that industry as well. So sorry, there's another question. Moving into an editing and publishing career, do I think it can work? Also that you're 40, what's the age mix? Absolutely. My editor at Allen & Unwin was older and went into editing as a second career. And so we do have a mix of people who've come out of undergrad, seems to be a slight minority. And mostly there are people who already have had other careers and want to do this as a change of career, or simply because they're interested in writing a book or, a screenplay. So we have a mix of those two. I would say it skews towards older rather than younger. And you absolutely, a lot of people do use this to get into editing and publishing, to work in editing and publishing. And I think that we're the only course in Sydney that, the only graduate course. I know there's one in Melbourne as well, but I think that we're the only course in Sydney which does teach this at a postgraduate level. And absolutely people go on to work in that industry from UTS, from this course. Excellent, thank you. If any more questions, there's probably time for one more if anyone has one. Okay, I'm going to wrap up then. And sorry, there is something in the chat. Thank you. That's the Writer Salon event page, which Serena has shared in the chat. Thanks, Serena. And that's if you're interested in coming along. This is going to be on Zoom, this one. Normally, we have a mix of it being face-to-face and on Zoom. So all you have to do is go and register, and it will give you a Zoom link for Friday at 6 p.m. You can be in your pajamas with a glass of wine and enjoy it from the comfort of your home. Thanks so much for joining us. I think we have one more slide. Yes, thank you for attending. More course information can be found here. You can email me with questions about the postgrad program. I'm the postgrad advisor. You can email Fast Marketing, and hope that you have a great rest of your evening.